Hey everyone, this is Stevie Richards. Welcome back to the home studio. Let's get right into this review of the YoloCam S3 webcam because it's so very interesting. For under $200, are you able to get the quality? And we're going to test this out, comparing it to the camera we're using right now as a webcam, the Sony FX30 with a Tamron 28 to 75 millimeter lens, also including a dummy battery in the extra cost in order to power it and get the maximum resolution on YoloLiv, the Rodecaster video, or just in general, Zoom, OBS, whatever it might be. But this right here, and we're also going to test out the autofocus later. This right here, the YoloCam S3, come on, autofocus. Maybe that's already an indictment of the FX30 and this Tamron lens compared. We're going to see compared to the autofocus of this right here, the YoloCam S3 under $200. So we're going to test this out in the same exact spot by hooking it up to the Elgato Prompter XL, but also we're going to put it up on the studio display here first so you can see it. It's not a one-to-one comparison because of the key lights, the background, and everything. You're going to see the difference in that, but then we're going to put it right where the FX30 is. So right here off the bat, Sony FX30 right now over $2,000. Tamron 28 to 75 millimeter lens with an f2.8 aperture. We're going to talk about this being actually a better focal length as well as a better aperture than this. And then the dummy battery, guess what? We're approaching over $3,000 as far as I checked on Amazon and B&H at the time of this recording. So quite a bit more expensive. How many? You can buy 10. But you could buy about 15 of these or more for the price. And you're going to have to, maybe one day you're going to have a 15 multicam setup. I don't know if my Mac Studio can even handle that, but we're going to compare everything. We're also going to dive into the software to make manual adjustments to the S3 and see how it stacks up right out of the box, plug and play, and also with some manual settings with that. So let's get started and take a look. We're going to hook it up to the studio display here, which, by the way, it has magnetic mount, if I can't drop it, and also this type of hookup here. Also has a tripod mount on the bottom. We're going to connect in my quick release plate and put it up on the Elgato Prompter XL. But let's hook it up over here first and see what it looks like. So we're still in the Sony FX30 with the Tamron 28 to 75 millimeter 2.8 lens. Let's switch over to the S3. Totally different camera angle, by the way, but here it is. And you can tell it's quite a bit wider. This here has a focal length of 24 millimeters, where I talked about the FX30, 28 at the widest. Also, the aperture on this is f2.8. This here is f1.85. Now you can see we have the fill light back here. The key lights are not in the position to film. There's been no manual settings, no configuration. This is literally the default settings going through Ecamm Live. I don't even dare show the studio display microphone because our microphone, not the webcam. But speaking of microphone, the one thing I would say, people, for under $200, this is a dedicated webcam. It does not have a built-in microphone, so we're using a pod mic, the Rodecaster video. You're going to have a microphone, even if you plug in a DJI Mic 3, a Rode Wireless Pro into your computer, or anything else, lav mic, studio mic, audio interface, USB mic, whatever it might be, it's going to translate on OBS, Ecamm, Rodecaster video, Zoom, whatever you use, Teams, Google Meet. So they did keep the price under $200, and probably part of that is removing the built-in microphone. So that's about the only con if you're looking for a webcam where you can basically talk right into it. And you're not going to get great audio quality anyway, so I don't fault them for that. And there is the S7 from YoloLiv, the YoloCam S7, if you want to go up to that. But once again, you're talking about $800. You could buy 4 of these. So let's dive in. We're going to basically put this on the Prompter XL, connected just like we do on the FX30 using a quick release plate because it does have a tripod mount on the bottom, as well as this mount right here, which is magnetic and it's on top of my studio display. But let's hook it up here so that way you can see compared to this right here what it looks like in the next segment. So here we have a very wide shot of the YoloCam S3. There's a few reasons for that. By the way, the focal length is 24 millimeters, and the Prompter XL from Elgato does support cameras with a focal length of 24 millimeters. The reason why you see the vignetting of the border of the actual Prompter XL and even the screen on the bottom part right here is because the S3, or the mount more specifically, is in the same exact spot as the FX30 plus that Tamron lens, which is quite a bit longer. The footprint on the S3 is super small, so I could slide that closer. But if I'm swapping cameras or doing anything like that, which I might not do because it looks really, really good out of the box, but I can do Ecamm Live, Rodecaster video, I believe OBS as well. You can zoom in. It has digital zoom and pan, even the included software that's compatible with the YoloCam lineup can do it. But we're going to zoom in right here. All right, so there we go. We're panning and zooming in. I have to say, this looks really good. This looks really, really good. I haven't done any manual settings. Like I said, basically all the default settings. I haven't done anything in Ecamm Live, whereas with the FX30, I shoot in S-Log3, Cine, and then apply a LUT through Ecamm Live. But I have to say, this looks really, really good. This could be something right here. And like I said, I can slide it closer. I don't have to use the digital zoom and pan, but I could do that, and I can center it up very nicely. I have to say, I'm really impressed. $200 for the Stevie Richards show to get this kind of quality. We invested $3,000 at the time of this recording, but it was a little cheaper when it was on sale previous to all the price increases. But this looks really, really good. I'll just go out a little bit further here. See, I can see the border there, and then do that right there. I can't say enough about how impressed I am with this and the plug and play ability and all that stuff. And I cannot say it enough. I haven't even done anything to this image through Ecamm Live. It's plugged in through the USB-C to USB-A, and it just looks incredible. And we're shooting right now 4K, 30 frames a second. Sometimes it won't be so stable in Ecamm Live. Like with the FX30 over USB-C, I'm capped out at 1080p, 30 frames a second or 60. This here is 4K, 30. And I have to say, I already said it, it looks incredible. I just noticed we have a little bit of green screen inception going on right now, but we're going to go through the YoloLiv Compose app here on my Mac, take a look at it and see what it has to offer as far as manual settings. But once again, I can't stress it enough. I literally just plugged it in. It's up to date on the firmware and the software, and that was pretty much it. But if I want to tailor it right here, we have the camera adjustments. We can also save the scene after we're done. So I can save an Ecamm Live scene. I can save an OBS one. I can save one for the Rodecaster video. Bunch of different options right here. So let's go into video settings. We have 16 by 9, and also we can go 9 by 16 there. We can also just turn the actual S3 webcam onto the magnetic mount to make a vertical video. I do a lot of vertical videos for Cameo. It's just incredible. With Ecamm Live, I can pretty much create a profile, but if I want that full resolution, I can turn the camera, turn the S3, and basically have it in portrait mode in an instant, and then just put it back to landscape mode. So 30 frames a second, 25, 50, and 60, no 24. Not as far as I can see. I think there was a reviewer a while ago that was asking for 24. James shoots in 25. I shoot in 30 or 24 when we're doing the show. Image setting, here we have Sony. So we have the FX30. There's a color style for that, as well as this for Canon, which is a bit warmer. And I have to say, I kind of like it. And then we have the version 1 right here, which is a fair tone. That's not bad. And you can adjust the sharpness, contrast, saturation. The vignetting, you can see you can add it and remove it. We keep that basically corrected. Here's the focus right here. Are we going to go continuous, AFS, or face right here? And basically, that would probably be where it would be, except for the fact the continuous work, because I could basically put a product up in front. It will focus on that and back. If it's on face, I'm assuming it will not focus off of my face, say with the hand and then back. There's a little bit of shadowing right now. So I'll just keep it on that. We also have manual focus as well. Here's zoom. So you can see we're quite a bit wider here on this. We already zoomed in digitally on Ecamm Live. So that's what you're seeing in the corner right here. And let's see. Okay, I'm in the way. So we got to move myself out of the way here real quick in order to do this. So let's go up here and do that, do it live. So there we go. So as we have Zoom right here on the app, I'm basically going to just zoom in on this so you can see now I'm keyed out, but I'm zooming in also at the top. So we're going to leave this like it is right there. So you can see like it's matching what's there because it's got that camera going through Ecamm Live. So, and we also have the range right here. We have presets that we can do to have if you want to do a live punch in like we do on DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro, or editing programs where I'm talking, then it punches in, punches out, punches in, punches out. And I'll demonstrate that right now. I'm going to set presets. This will be A. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and you're going to see it zoom in there. And let's pan this a little bit here. You can see the panning back and forth. Give it right there. And we're going to set that preset to B. So A, B, I mean, that's live. So you don't have to post edit. You have a stream deck. You can basically hit that as a hotkey, do that, and you're ready to go. And even hotkeys have a setting. So we can do anything we want when it comes to that. Then we have this AI parameter thing. I haven't really used that. Exposure. Here's where we can turn down the ISO to about 400 or 640. I usually keep a 640 or 800 for the show. And of course, the shutter speed, we are 30 frames a second. So we double that right there. White balance is manual, 5600 Kelvin. We can also try auto. Doesn't do a bad job, but all these lights are set to 5600 Kelvin. And then we have right here where we can manually adjust. This is kind of above my pay grade. Also HSL, tons of things right there. Then we have right here, we can go from fast to professional for color grading and use that. Now I did ask the marketing rep, if there's going to be a log setting for this, if you could shoot in log and then put it in Ecamm Live, apply a LUT and do that. They said there was supposed to be a software update. That's why this review is so delayed. But I have to say, I'm not missing it at all. So like I said, just for the plug and play ability of this is pretty incredible. It seems to be frozen right there. All right, now we're back. There's just so many different things you can do to manually adjust this for something that's under $200. And we'll go to the conclusion next because pretty much I can dive as deep as I want into this using the YoloLiv Compose app. Or what I can do is what I did in the beginning, plug and play, let it go, and that's it. And all the default settings, all I was playing with manual white balance and stuff and manual types of things here. Like, let's go back into this. I was playing with the exposure and everything just a little bit, but I just matched this to my FX30 settings, and it was really just, that was it. But you saw the difference between auto on this. It's not much different. It's a little bit brighter on exposure, manual. It's all according to your taste and what you like. But we're going to come back with the conclusion. All throughout this video, by the way, we put up the specs, every feature in there. But I think just the plug and play nature of this S3 really speaks for itself. And I'm about to say that again and repeat myself once again on the conclusion. So I know I spoiled my conclusion, and this is kind of unnecessary in the end because I highly recommend the YoloCam S3 for under $200. It is really, really a strong contender, especially for something over $3,000. But really, when I'm looking at this, this might be the camera I use now for the Stevie Richards show and everything here in the studio to use a webcam that's pretty darn close to the FX30 with a lens. Hey, it's crazy. And the aperture is much better. The focal length is much wider, although we need to zoom in using the Prompter XL with Ecamm Live, as well as the Rodecaster video, OBS, all those things. It's very, very wide as far as focal length, but that's good. You can always zoom in, but if it's too tight, You can't zoom out. The only correction I would make based off of the last segment is the fact I went back to the cooler colors of Sony through the YoloLiv Compose app. I really looked at both of those. The Canon was really warm, so it almost looked oversaturated, but you can manually adjust all that, or like I did in the beginning, just plug it in and use it, whether you're using it for Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, whether you're using it for Ecamm Live, Rodecaster Video, OBS, FaceTime on the Mac, whatever it might be. $199, under $200. I can't say enough good things about this, and I'm definitely interested in comparing this to their YoloCam S3, which has interchangeable lenses, has a lot of features this doesn't, but it is 4 times the price of the S3. I think this is coming from this is how old I am. The Logitech C920 was the webcam back in the Skype days, if I could say it with my Philly accent. But this here is 10, if not more than 10 times better than that Logitech C920 or anything else. This is the era of this camera for a webcam, and definitely highly recommended. So thank you so much for watching this video, and see you in the next one.